Just let me breathe, breathe. Just let me breathe, breathe. Just let me breathe. You already know me too well. Hold me tight for the night. Is it raining? I can barely tell. I'll just hold you tight.
Hi, I'm Francois from Production Music Live today with producer notes, and we're taking a look at the style of Rüfüs du Sol lately, kind of deep melodic house, something like that. We have a fully arranged track here in Ableton, and we sort of modeled it after the track with different harmonies and melodies, only using PML sounds, Ableton stock effects and instruments, plus Serum, and we're trying to sort of learn the thinking behind the style by reverse engineering the style. And let's have a quick overview over the arrangement. We are starting with an intro. And then we are falling into the first verse. We are using vocals here from the PML vocals pack.
Do you remember when the leaves are falling down in September? You in my sweater, I was hoping that we stay forever.
And then we are building it up towards the first drop.
We are not just some strangers in the dark. We are far more than lovers. I could never ever see us drift apart. Just let me breathe, breathe. Just let me breathe, breathe.
Then we are falling into the first verse here.
Do you remember?
And so on. And then we go into the second drop, which is this delayed drop here we heard in the beginning.
Just let me breathe, breathe. Just let me.
Super groovy. And then break part at around 2 minutes.
Do you remember when the leaves are falling down in September? You in my sweat.
And then we bring back the cymbals.
Already know me too well. Hold me tight for the night.
And while the bass was sort of stable on one note here in this little break element, we are now alternating the bass notes again.
You already know me too well. Hold me tight for the night.
And then followed by a build-up.
I could never ever see us drift apart. Just let me breathe, breathe. Just let me breathe, breathe. Just let me.
And we'll repeat that, and then we go into the outro. Winding it down and also sort of filtering the vocals here into this more, phone type effect. Okay, so let's have a quick look into the groups. We have this drums group up here. That's what it sounds like in the drop and in our verse. And below that we have the bass line. With a bunch of subtle bass layers here for getting the analog feel. Below that we have an instruments group sounding like this. the verse and in the build-up. And below that, we have the vocals group with drones, Atmos, and the main vocal.
Hold you tight for the strangers in the dark. We are far more than lovers.
And then below that, we have a small effects group with 2 effects basically. And let's go through some of these most important elements one by one now. And basically we have 2 super interesting parts. One is the drop. And another one is the verse.
Do you remember when the leaves are falling down in September?
Okay, and there are a bunch of elements we want to get right for the sound. I'm starting in the drums group and we are just taking a look at the kicks or the kick. I'm saying plural because we layered a bunch of them together here to achieve the sound. So we're looking for short kick and we're layering 2 parts. This is the top part. The clicky from our percussive Afro House kit, and this one here is from the Afro House pack. Super nice, clean one, a bit of compression, and I think the most interesting thing is that we're using this ducking behind it to sort of shape the envelope. So that's how we sort of shape the length of the kick and then we bring it back here. And if I'm putting the click back up, we sort of engineered a Rüfüs type kick here with these 2 samples. Now we can actually sort of freeze it and make a new sample out of it that would be a bit cleaner to see here, but just so you could see the process behind it. And then we have the tom as an important element below that. So positioning of the tom is 1-3-3 and 2-3-3. Using a sound from the Percussive House pack. And below that we have 2 Rimshots that define the sound here as well. Let me activate both of them. So we have this one here, and we are sending that through a short decay time of 850 milliseconds. And then we have that one, and that gets a bit 2 seconds of decay time, basically. And let me quickly check. Yeah, we detuned that one as well because the sample was a bit off. And then towards the end of the 8-bar pattern, we have 2 more toms. We have those 2 sounds here just bumping in right before the on-beat. And they don't start exactly at the same time, and that's sort of on purpose here. It's not done with the delay of the track, it's just the differences in the sample. So it sounds like more than 1 tom here. Okay, gives this nice pumping effect. And let's look at the claps in the verse, which is a simple one. Very clean. And you can see this one again is layered out of a bunch of claps to sort of get the fatness of the sound right and sort of feature some of the elements that are in this clap sound, but don't worry about this too much. This could also be just a 1 clap sample. The important thing is to have snappy, clean and quite short drum elements here. Okay, and on top of that we have hi-hats. A bunch of short closed hi-hats with variations in velocities. So we have a closed. We're actually taking a Serum instance here to sort of use a cymbal loop as a noise section and then make a closed hi-hat out of that. You can also create all of your drum sounds just with Serum. And then we're combining that with a shaker loop. Okay, and on top of that we have a bunch of other hi-hats. We basically just used a bunch of hi-hat loops from the PML sample packs and put them together here, always trying to sort of maintain the groove. Okay, so that's the verse, and let's have a quick look into what's going on in the drop part, where we have one more element that sort of requires a bit of attention. Because they have this super tonal clap snare thing. And either you have such a sound or you have to sort of put it together from a bunch of sounds. Let's quickly take a look at how it was done here. So here's where we're getting our tonal information from. It's this percussion one shot, and we're transposing it and then we're shaping it according to our needs. We're getting rid of the super initial transient because we're doing that with something else. We just need this sort of note information, and then we have a clap, lower part of a snare, upper part of a snare, clappy lo-fi part of a snare, and let's put it all together. There we go. We could now bounce this out as a sample, but I just wanted to showcase how you can layer together sounds like this one and achieve this effect. And then we also have another clap fill here. This one is always nice to see. So you have velocities varied again. And then we are sort of sending that into our echo, and we are automating that a little bit. The first one is still dry, and then towards the tail of this clap fill pattern, we are automating the send effect in there. Yeah, to sort of have a nice tail behind it. And quickly turning this off again so we can take an overview. So these are the main drum elements in this track. And let's move over to the bass lines. We have the sub bass line. So A flat, F and C, and E flat. We are in C minor here, and these are eighth notes. So this is your clean sub bass. If we quickly take a look at the sound itself. Very short envelope, 300 milliseconds decay, and we have a basic mini wavetable here, and we're sending it all through the MG low 24 decibels per octave filter, which is slightly moving up and down with envelope 2. Very straightforward, simple bass sound. On top of that, we are sort of layering together a bunch of these Rhodes sounds. This one is from the Afro House sound pack here. A nice Rüfüs with 7 voices, 6 voices. But also this sound ends. It has a release time of 1.3 seconds. It ends at some point, especially because we are playing this note short. We don't want it sustained because we want the track to be able to breathe. On top of that, or let's say below that, we are playing another instance. And you might be wondering, why should I play these deep notes? But we are, like, our sound is sort of covering almost an entire octave here with jumping around. And we just want parts of these sound elements as well. When we're playing up here, we still want some lower information, an octave lower. And that's why we keep some of this information an octave lower, but we are cutting off the very lows here. You just achieve a more rich sound by doing this. And then the same applies here in this analog section as well. So here we're using the acid wavetable to get this bathroom type feeling, and below we are playing pulse wave Genji and Genji again with 7 voices. And below some noise. Some analog feeling AC hum. Together with basic mini. And we're cutting low end. So maybe you feel like this is a bit over-engineered. But in the sum of the elements, you have fairly rich sound, and if you play it together with everything, which in the mix is where it matters, you have... Let me actually take off the vocal quickly. Fantastic bass sound. It really works, and it's Ableton stock and Serum. So yeah, on top of that, it's being ducked, sidechained, and we have a bit of cleaning up here, mid-side EQ, and at times we are bringing in this low pass, or what's that, low cut filter. Bit of saturation on top. Let's move over to the instrument section where we have this signature sound here, this analog lead playing. Okay, and what's important about the sound, we're playing the basic mini again. This is just a nice and warm sounding wave table because it's a combination of a saw wave and sort of a sine wave. And that makes it pretty smooth. And envelope 1 looks like that. Release time almost 600 milliseconds. And this is what envelope 2 looks like, controlling the filter here. And if we quickly look at the matrix, we can see that LFO1 and LFO2 and 3 are controlling the A, so oscillator A, fine tuning or fine pitching. And that's this part here, and that's what makes it so pitchy. Let me exaggerate this effect quickly. I'm going to the matrix. So it's really unstable if you do that. In the effects section, by the way, we have another filter and we have hyper dimension expander up a bit. And over time, we're automating this cutoff up. Bring this back down. And then we are sending it through the Redux, filtering out some lower frequencies and some higher frequencies. All this high airy information is gone. And this LFO controls the gain from the utility. Let's take a look at when it starts doing that here towards the end of the first go around. Basically make sure it jumps around a bit in the volume. And then we are sending it around our ears with the auto pan. And I'm making some room here in the middle. And that's the lead analog sound. Below that, we have these one note pluck sounds. Nothing crazy. The lead on top. Yeah, you just need a plucky sound. I'm skipping the details here. Going over to this lead sound. Simple saw lead sound. Basic shapes. 10 voices, attack up a bit, 800 milliseconds so it doesn't bump in right from the start. And we haven't talked about the pads yet, so let's take a look at the chord progression in these Rhodes. So we are actually in the scale of C minor. We can activate it quickly and we can see we are starting with an A flat major 7th chord. How do we know that? Let's bring A an octave up. We can see 3 semitones in between A flat and C. There's your 3rd. And then we don't play the 5th here, but we play the 7th. So that's sort of an A flat major 7th chord without a 5th. Bring the A back down. Our second chord is F minor 7th. Bring F up quickly. You see we have a minor 3rd between F and A flat. And then this is the 4th. We're not playing the 5th, we're not playing the 6th, but we're playing the 7th, which is E flat. So it's F minor 7th, no 5th. And below that, we are playing C minor. If I'm bringing it up, you can see C. And the 3rd up here, which is E flat. And then we're playing an octave higher, the C again. So again, no 5th played here. And the last chord is E flat. And what is it, minor or major? It's a major chord. We have a major 3rd in between. So 3 semitones in between, E flat and G. And on top we're playing the 5th in this case, which is B flat. So again. Yeah, and in the second round, we are not playing E flat here on the second chord, but we are playing A flat. So we're bringing the third an octave up. Okay. And we can actually quickly take a look. We have some kind of Rhodes element here, which you can achieve with sine waves. And then we have an analog pad on top of that. Which we achieve with nice and warm basic mini wavetables. And then on top of that we have such a nice and subtle sound, but goes a long way. Again, basic mini here, and we're just rolling off low and high end. But don't underestimate this sound. For certain genres, this is killer. These are the sounds that bring the feels. And what else do we have? Analog lead. Okay, so this one is resting on top of everything else. Okay, and in a drop, let's quickly go through that. We have a high pad, and that one is also being used later in the main drop part. We can quickly take a look at that as well. We are playing just 2 chords here because these will still work with the second chord that we are playing. So here we keep C stable and G stable, and we just alternate between E flat and C down here. So that's also being kept stable, and these notes just work great over the other 2 chords as well. So that's why we can keep it that way. Kind of like a drone. And also the sound design requires, again, basic mini waveforms. So we just have a very smooth and harmonious pads section. Yeah, and on top you have this one just always towards the end of the pattern here, playing these tension notes. And we also have something like that right before our transitions here into the drops, where we have this sound. Let's listen to it in context. With a long tail as well. And how is this put together? It's set to mono, legato, and the portamento is set to a lot up here. And then we have a long attack time. We have saw wave wide and saw wave narrow, and sending that through this EQ that sort of rolls off a lot of low end, and then also sending the sound through the reverb here. And the release time is 4 seconds, 4 point something seconds, so a long release time. And because it's set to mono and legato, it's first going to play this note, and then as soon as that one is being played, it tries to go up there, and when it stops playing this one and then reiterates on playing this one another time, it does the same thing and tries to go back down. So you You can also draw in a pitch bend type curve, but this one works as well. Okay, quickly looking at the vocals, we have a bunch of vocals from the PML Vocals Volume 1 pack.
Just let me breathe, breathe. Just let me breathe, breathe.
And we're sending them through the reverb with 3 seconds of decay time and through this echo. And we also at times set it to phone mode.
Just let me breathe, breathe. Just let me breathe.
And below that we have a drone. And an Atmo. All in key, in the key of the track, and that's how that works together. And then just a quick look at the effects. A sweep up, a noise in Serum, and we are bringing that up over time with the mod wheel, which is controlling the filter cutoff here, dragging it up, rolling off the fuzziness here, and then ducking the sound with this shaper sidechain element. And behind it, this noise pan, nice little tweak. So that's just one note on C3, and we are using another noise section, AC hum 1. And then we're just rolling off everything below this part, and then we're sending it through this auto pan, which gets an automation on the rate, which looks like this. So sending it around, and it does something similar here in the end. Always a nice effect to automate the rate of the auto pan. Setting the shape to 0. You have a cool effect by this.
Just let me breathe, breathe. Just let me breathe, breathe. Just let me breathe.
So if we quickly take a look at the arrangement here, we have an intro part, then we are starting with the verse. We are playing these nice leads. It's more the pop type arrangement here. And then we are sort of preparing our build up. We are preparing our snare rolls at some point here as well.
I could never ever see it.
So basically the verse is in the verse, your vocalist is singing something a bit more calmly.
Do you remember when the leaves were falling down in September?
Calm voice.
You already know me too well. Hold me tight.
And then in the build-up, the voice sort of goes a bit up in dynamic.
We are not just some strangers in the dark. We are far more than lovers. I could never ever see us drift apart.
That one sort of bridges you into the drop already, where we are singing full power.
Breathe, breathe. Just let me breathe, breathe.
And here we are just playing it for 8 bars, and then we go back into the second verse. And you can see when the second verse finishes up, the build-up is much shorter than here, and the drop or the chorus comes earlier and stays for longer.
Hold you tight. Just let me breathe, breathe.
you have this break part that sort of serves as the bridge.
Do you remember when the leaves are falling down?
Ideally, we would have a different vocal here, but we just used what was available in one of our vocal packs. And then you sort of go into some kind of verse again.
You already know me too well. Hold me tight for the night.
And then you build it back up, and then you fall into the third drop or the third chorus of your song, and then you sort of make and play that 2 times. Could also play it 3 times. Some songs go a semitone up after playing it 2 times, but that's more like 80s style. Anyways, then the outro, and that's the arrangement of this track. So this is part of the Melodic House production kit Twilight Rhythms. It was added to this pack. If you have the pack, you can download it again. If you don't have it, feel free to check out the links in the description to this pack. Also, feel free to check out the links to the Melodic House Academy, which sort of focuses on this style of music with a full academy program with start to finish course, mixing courses, mastering courses, how to write chords and melodies in a harmonies part, and we have a fully arranged album with project files in there as well. Samples, presets, MIDI files, anything you need to produce this type of genre. Check it out. Also, if you're looking for Serum presets, I'm linking to the Feelings Serum pack for Melodic House. I'm also linking to the vocal packs that have been used here as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll have a full playback now, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Do you remember when the leaves are falling down in September? You in my sweater, I was hoping that we'd stay here forever. You already know me too well. Hold me tight for the night. Is it raining? I can barely tell. I'll just hold you tight for the night. We are not just some strangers in the dark. We are far more than lovers. I could never ever see us drift apart. Just let me breathe. Breathe. Just let me breathe. Breathe. Do you remember when the leaves are falling down in September? You in my sweater, I was hoping that we'd stay here forever. You already know me too well. Hold me tight for the night. Is it raining? I can barely tell. I'll just hold you tight. Just let me breathe. Breathe. 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 Just let me. Do you remember when the leaves are falling down in September? You in my sweater, I was hoping that we'd stay here forever. You already know me too well. Hold me tight for the night. Is it raining? I can barely tell. I'll just hold you tight for the night. We are not just some strangers in the dark. We are far more than lovers. I could never ever see moved apart.